Hello, Guru Nation. Welcome back to another episode of Random Musings from the Clinical Trials Guru. Thank you for watching on YouTube. Guys and gals on YouTube, only 1 out of 4 of you who watch this video are subscribers. So make sure that you subscribe, like, comment, because today we have a really good guest, an inspirational guest. Anybody that can create a niche service in research that's sustainable and that is busy, all right, is deserves all of my respect. So today we have Carla Navas. She's the founder of Vera Services. It's a phase 1 clinical research, I guess, monitoring service. We're going to get into exactly what she does. But welcome, Carla. Thank you very much.
Hi, Dan. Thank you for having me.
So before we get into Vera, because I do want to talk most of the interview about that and what you're doing and challenges, opportunities that biotechs or small cap drug companies face. Who are you and how did you get into research in the first place?
Yeah, so long story, so I'm gonna try to be brief as possible. Um, I'm Ecuadorian by birth, so hola a todos los que hablan español.
Latinos in clinical research. We need to
There
get
you
you on
go.
there. We need to get you on
Yes,
there as a presenter soon.
yes. So I came at the age of 18 years old, and actually my first job at 18 years old was in a clinical research facility as a receptionist.
Wow.
Yes, 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 yes. So I was the person who, when the patient comes in and they're like, "Oh, we're interested in studying," I was like, "Okay, which study? And let me give you a consent." That was me.
Wow.
So in this was a phase 1 facility, and I kind of escalated through all the positions for over 10 years. And I got myself pretty well established in that clinic to the point that I couldn't go higher up anymore. At the same time, studies in Latin America were becoming a thing, and it was pretty new.
I gotcha. I
So
gotcha.
yeah, so I got the opportunity to work with an SMO. They're not a CRO, they're an SMO who
Yeah.
has about 10 or 12 sites in Latin America. And the biggest need is that they needed someone in Spanish to
No kidding.
know research. Yes.
So when was this? Not trying to date you or anything, but when was the like? Just give us approximate time when
Oh
this was.
my God, this was back in 2001, I want to say 2002.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So
Yeah,
you've been
yeah,
doing this for a while already. Okay. So
yeah.
Latin America was hotter then than it is now because now you're not
Mm,
seeing too much of this, like, wanting to do it. I mean, they're doing like multinational trials there, of course, but like early service, you're not seeing too much, right?
no, nothing too much. So what works for Latin America are conditions that we can find here. So for example, I was working with a derm pharma, and we couldn't find impetigo anywhere in the United States because it's not something that I mean, you wash your hand with soap and
Yeah.
impetigo goes away.
Yeah.
But in Latin American countries, I mean, they're developed. Access to soap might not be something that it's a daily use. So it was a perfect finding because we were able to do the study, to get the data and help people over
Hmm.
there. So I had to like kind of build up a site over there to help get this data, and you can think also on acne patients that are naive to any medication. That's not something that you're going to find here in the US because you can get in the CVS and get something. We needed to find somewhere that it's kind of a
Wow.
luxury to
So how
do
did
it.
so you worked as a receptionist at a clinic.
Uh-huh.
The site that you were working was part of a SMO?
No, no, no. They were a standalone dedicated clinic facility for phase 1.
I see.
But them, meeting people, when I was already a big study coordinator, I got in touch with a SMO who has the sites in Latin America, and they were like straight out. They were like, "We see that you have a lot of quality and EDC knowledge. Can you, do this as a CRA in Latin American countries
Wow, as a CRA.
as a CRA?" Because now the issue is that even if the company hired the SMO, the PI couldn't communicate with the CRA. So So
Right.
they needed that. Uh-huh. So
Okay, I gotcha.
that's how I became a CRA. So they gave me a quick 2 week get ready and start traveling. But because I already have dealt with a lot of monitors for several years, I knew exactly what the role was.
You knew what monitor were. This is why I always
Yeah.
say coordinators make the best CRA in my opinion, besides nurses. I mean, it's between
Yeah.
those two, who makes a better CRA. That's debatable. Let me know in the comments who you think make a better CRA, a coordinator or a nurse. I think it's tough to say either one is bad. So, Carla, you were going then to all different parts of Latin America at that point?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I went to places like Ecuador, Dominican Republic. I think I'm gonna retire there. I used to work there weeks at a time. Honduras, Nicaragua, oh my gosh, Chile, Argentina,
Wow.
different places where we were doing studies, and the conditions are not like something you're used to here. They were pretty rare conditions. So I was able to get all the type of connections, and I lasted there for maybe another 9 years. So I helped that SMO get all their sites with their same SOPs, trying to develop more phase 1 studies over there.
Yeah.
It was kind
Wow.
of a challenge, but the issue is that when you're traveling international, the pharmaceutical or the sponsor will not pay you for 3 days. You got to stay there like the week.
Wow.
So
Okay.
yeah, so that became an issue. So I will be from like in Dominican Republic from Monday through Friday, and then on a Monday I needed to be in Nicaragua for Monday to Friday. So
Okay. So
family
how
time
long?
was almost zero.
Yeah, it's good. I would imagine. Now, how long did this last? Because I know SMOs, I mean, they fell out of favor at some point around like late 2000s. So how long were you actually monitoring?
So no, I mean I and the only reason why is because I left, but they're still pretty strong because
Oh, they're still doing it.
they have good connections in Latin American countries, and they have their repeated clients, which is
Wow.
amazing because you're not gonna find the conditions that they deal with. You're not gonna find it here in the U.S.
So that
So
opened your eyes. Working for the SMO opened your eyes,
exactly,
right?
yes,
And
yes.
you
So
seem to be entrepreneur. You're not seem, you are obviously entrepreneur because you don't go from receptionist to owning a phase 1 monitoring service company. Otherwise, I mean, it's not easy what you did, right? But did you always know? Like when you were receptionist, did you know? I don't know what I'm gonna do, but research is gonna be something I'm gonna do.
yeah, no, I knew because unbelievable or not, when I saw people getting hired at the clinic, either they like it or they didn't like it. Like they will be like, "Oh no, we're just dealing people and to put in medications, weird medications," and they wouldn't like it. They wouldn't like the whole concept. And honestly, I was very comfortable with the concept. So, and you gotta wrap it up quickly. You have to get it and be out on it. So I saw a lot of people that were like, no, this is not for me. A lot of people that tried but couldn't deal with the fast pace of the trials. And they will keep you if you get it. They will keep you as long as they want and if you're good.
Right.
So basically after that, because I had only experience in Latin America, I did have to pay my dues in a big CRO in the United
Oh, you
States.
did. You did.
I did. I
When
did.
when before or after the SMO did you do the?
After the SMO, because you know how they're here, you have to have experience.
Right, right. So how did that work? What made you go from the SMO to doing Latin America, which you found a really good niche? What made you want to go to a US big CRO?
Yeah, family time. That was my big issue. I could not, the schedule was so crazy between Latin American countries. Just tell you a quick story. I was trying to catch a early fly at 5 in the morning from Nicaragua to the US so I can spend more time with my family. And I made a huge fight in the airport because I didn't want to play in the flight. And I was like, it's right here. You don't want to give it to me. Turns out it was in Honduras, not in the right airport. So
Wow.
that's how crazy it was. Yes. So, and due to family reasons, my kids needed more a mom at home that working person. So I decided to switch it up a little bit. So I started doing more US, but being bilingual, it's a blessing and also a unfortunate event sometimes, because then in this big CRO, which now everything changed, I was paying salary. I was assigned to all the Puerto Rico sites. So I had 19 sites in Puerto Rico. So I will travel from Monday to a Friday, all in the island, and then come back home and do reports on the weekends, and then do it again on Monday to Friday.
Wow. Wow.
So
So
I was
even that,
making
not much
less.
family time.
Exactly. So I was making less and doing more.
So not a good idea, but you're glad you
Not a
did
good
that,
idea.
right? Because I think okay, so at the CRO, then you got your eyes more open.
Correct.
What did you
Correct.
see? What did you see that, because you don't just say, I want to do phase one monitoring specialty service. That doesn't come from the thin
No.
air. What did you see that made you
So
think?
one of the things that I noticed is that big CROs, they turn their monitors to be like a cut cookie factory. They're
Yeah.
gonna be doing this like this, and it's just
Cookie
a
cutter,
repeating.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and that didn't work well with me. Like, I do have an opinion, and if something is not working away, I don't want to go around. I want a solution. So I can tell you so many scenarios where that happens, where what I actually saw is that my sites were missing quality for quantity. So even if the sponsor got their data and things approved, once they're going to get audit, it was going to be a quality issue. So, and what happened after is that now I'm becoming a lot of known for rescuing studies, because it's so important that we provide quality and safety data rather than the quantity for visits that the CRO wants to get paid for.
Right.
So this was important for me. So I obviously, after the year, I was like, no, I'm done. I mean, I cannot even offer quality because you have me with 19 sites. It's
So they
just
didn't care.
ridiculous.
Sierra didn't care so much about quality. They say they do, but they don't. They just want the drug approved or, FDA decision, whatever. Can you explain what's a rescue? For people that are watching or listening, rescue monitoring.
Okay. So and I cannot mention companies for confidential disclosures.
We all know which ones they are, anyways.
So for example, Vera Services started in 2005 because I saw this need. I mean, it was impossible. When I was talking with PMs, they were like, we cannot find a quality person, and we have to go to these big CROs to pay crazy amount of monies and have no quality of data. So I started Vera Services, and the reason why I started is because this provider or this sponsor, pharmaceutical, the one who develops the drug, were pulling their study from a big CRO because they had a lot of quality issues. I mean, it
Wow.
was so bad that CRAs had said they did visits and the site didn't even know who the CRAs were. So it was a
No kidding.
completely, yes,
Wow.
it was a completely disaster. So once I put on the line, okay, this is, we don't know for safety, because the CRO is not going to get issue a 483 for oversight. That's
Right.
going to be always a sponsor. So they pulled it and they were like, what are we going to do with this? Let's do it internally. But they needed a CRA team, experienced CRA that can actually talk to these investigators, tell them the transition, and try to have them work with us after, changing maybe 5 CRAs or maybe having no reviews at all.
Right.
So that's how we started it. Me and my husband, we are CRAs. He has another trade, but I trained him to help me. And he's
Okay.
currently a CRA as well. And that's how we started. And
So you basically saw sponsors were saying from the big Sierra, they're saying they were calling you directly and saying, "Hey, what's going on?" And then that's where you saw the opportunity.
exactly. So I have a lot of, because I've been in the business for so long, I have a lot of PMs that work for pharmaceuticals directly or small biotechs.
Ah.
And they were like, I cannot find someone that can duplicate what you do. And we were like, okay, well, maybe I'm missing the big picture, and we need to
So
do it better.
basically, what you did was this quote I just put on Instagram. Being a generalist means mastering skills beyond your specialty and making yourself indispensable. You
There
see
you
that
go.
Swiss Army knife? All right, that's
That's
Carla.
exactly
You
what it
see this
is.
other one I just posted today? This is why the universe works in the mysterious ways. Be indispensable. Do the things your colleagues won't.
That's
Carla,
right.
I'm a fortune teller. I
I
did these quotes yesterday. I didn't know we were going to interview today. I had no
I
idea.
know. I know. You see,
You
this
see
is
how that
you just
works?
gotta be open.
So
You
that's
just got to be open.
exactly that summarizes what your situation was at the CRO.
Exactly. So this was one CRO. Then we had another small pharma that came and they're like, we want to do this study. We don't want to give it to a big CRO. Can you handle a startup and monitoring? And we were like, well, we're not sure where we are. Well, we'll give it a try. And we did. And it worked fine.
So you were willing
Um,
to risk, okay, the stable salary for going on your own, or were
mhm.
you managing that risk by doing both at the same time until you were sure that you would do well on your own?
To be honest with you, for the first 2 to 3 years, I had to be able to handle both at a very high speed and be very dedicated in both, because you cannot, even if you work for a salary, those are the people that you're going to have to work at another company, or that's your recurring
Right,
client.
right.
So I had to be able to keep both running. So for the first 2 or 3 years, it was really tough. But
Wow.
then
That's the thing people don't understand. They think it's easy to go from an employee to running your own business. And what they don't realize is to reduce the risk, you actually have to work double for the same pay.
oh,
Uh,
yes.
so that's the barrier of entry for most people.
Oh, yes. It was hard. I'm not gonna lie to you. I had many nights where I would put the kids to sleep and I had to work from 8 to 1 p.m., 1 a.m.
Wow.
to make sure reports are getting in on time.
How much coffee? You must be
And
drinking a lot of good Cuban coffee in Miami.
oh my God, I even invest to one of the companies.
You did. That's the only way you can do it.
Yeah, there is no other way you can do it. But the investments does pay off, because we've been on our own since 2009, and it's been I don't even know what year are we today, 2021.
So 11 years, 12 years?
Yeah,
Yeah.
solid
Wow.
solid working for in ourselves. We are our own owners. I mean, we pay ourselves, and I
So
don't
tell
think
me
that's
what
a
Vera
very
Services does, because I mean your story is incredible. But tell us what Vera Services does, what problems you solve. We kind of got a preview because of all the PMs calling you from your previous work. So basically, same kind of customers. Are they small biotech, big, medium? What
yeah.
kind?
I haven't worked with any big CROs or any big pharma, to be completely honest with you, like um, Merck and things of that nature. They will use their own, CRAs and whatever. But I work with the small ones, with ones that don't have the budget to go and hire a big CRO. And it really depends on the type of service that we can provide. I mean, we go from providing a full monitoring services, which includes everything from having sites start up process, getting the rec binders, submitting things of that nature, going to monitoring services and closing up the site and submit their data. Or we can only do the monitoring portion of it. So, and one of the things is that we're pretty open-minded. I don't want to close an opportunity until I'm 100% sure I can do it. I go for challenges. So
Mm-hmm.
um, one of my new clients, it's they're pulling their study in the middle of the study, and not the best scenario, but I'm gonna see, what's gonna happen. Um, and a lot of phase one, that's our specialty. One of the things it's hard to find, it's monitors that do have a phase one, like they know what is a MAD, multiple ascending doses studies,
Those are tough.
single. Oh yes,
Those are
very tough.
tough. Why is phase one so difficult for monitors? because it's different than phase 2 through 4, right? Because the dosing is more relaxed on phase 2 through 4. It's true, the fundamentals are no different. I mean, we're going to be sending you our best interns, from our CRA Academy to interview with you at least. But what makes it so difficult? Because I think that's a component I'm going to add, the like a small training for phase 1 that we talked about earlier to our CRA Academy. But what, like the multiple ascending dose, the multiple PK visits, right? Like within the minute,
Exactly,
those kind of
exactly.
things.
And there are so many designs that are just particulars for phase 1. Like we have single ascending doses, we have randomizations, conversions of the same group. So it gets kind of crazy. I think the difficult part for the CRAs on phase 1 is the fast speed that we do everything. So for example, for a monitor, you're not going to take a whole day checking one chart. You're probably going to take one day checking 8 charts because the PKs are every 2 hours, and we need to make sure that instead of looking, you will be looking at safety, but you got to make sure that the times are what the protocol calls for, because we're trying to get to the peak of the medication. And if the site by some reason messed up and did it 10 minutes later or earlier, guess what? We're not going to find that peak of the medication. So that will screw up a whole PK block. So it really depends on the study. But for the CRA, it's just making sure the protocol is being compliant.
So do you do, like, I'm curious for phase 1, I've only monitored one time a phase 1 study. I did and then the study was canceled. But as a contractor, I did do a phase 1 study. It was tough. What was I going to ask as far as the phase 1? As far as the phase 1, I actually forgot what I was going to ask, but it was a very good question. I was going to ask you about phase 1. It'll come back to me.
Not a problem.
But
So
your story is amazing, though. I mean, this is unbelievable.
Yeah. So another thing with phase 1 is that usually when we have multiple cohorts, we depend on the data of the previous cohort in order to escalate to the next cohort. So that means the data has to be entered and reviewed by the monitor in a timeline. So they will tell me, okay, we need to get a safety meeting on Friday.
Yeah.
So guess what? Carla Navas has to go monitor a couple of days before.
Like that. You have to go like that. You reminded me of my question. Phase 1, do you is it 100% source data verification or risk-based? Can you do risk-based?
It depends on the client, and it depends on the type of medication that we're doing. So I've done phase 1 for even generics. Some of the drugs do require phase 1 trials. So if it's a generic that has already been approved and we have pre-established data, then the sponsor will be okay with risk monitoring. But if it's a first in human, forget it. That's going to be 100 SDV.
So first in human, 100% SDV, but it depends. It depends. But what, as far as I'm really curious now, your Vera Services, and we'll have links to, we'll definitely have links to the LinkedIn for sure. Okay, for Carla, but Vera Services, do you do outsourcing, just the monitoring? And if so, and by the way, LinkedIn, any sponsors interested, project manager need rescue. I mean, Carla's here. And also, students of CRA Academy, like the serious ones, we can have internship opportunities for you. It will be amazing experience. But why haven't you gone to other CRO services? Why just monitoring? Like, what's the challenges there?
So, to be honest with you, we haven't even looked at it yet. We are really busy with CRA, and we're just thriving with the CRA part of it. There is a need. Obviously, there is a need on good CRAs. Not the ones that just go and sign. I mean, I have heard horror stories. I live in Florida. And some of my sites are near the beach, and I have sites telling me, "Well, a previous CRA already came with a swimsuit. Be here 2 hours," and they left. So
we had that at one of my sites too. We're here in Southern California, and this CRA from a big CRO kept coming to monitor our site, and I didn't care, but he looked every hour. He's like, okay, I'm done. Each time he came was for an hour. Signed the log, and then he's done. And I asked him like, hey, why? I mean, I don't really care, but why? Like, how are you getting this all done? And he's like, well, I just have friends here, and I don't come that often, so we go spend time. I'm like, okay. He was gone in like 6 months, not because of me, not because of me.
No, okay, yeah, I get you. I get you. But then now your site know what they're doing. But if it's a
Yeah,
site that has no idea what is going on,
dangerous, dangerous.
it's very dangerous for the site
So
and investigator.
is that your typical clientele that like a sponsor that's pulling their study and then coming to you, or are you getting like, have you established your reputation now to where you're getting like brand new studies to you?
No, we are getting brand new studies. I
Okay.
have some of
Okay.
my clients, they don't want to play with another CRO, and they're like, we're doing it this, we're doing it how you know.
Okay, I got you.
So yeah, and a lot of recurring clients. So for the audience, I know it's not gonna be, if you try to look for me in linked. We're working on another places on a social media, and that's something that we gotta work on because
We just
we're
gotta
doing
do
good.
more content. Carla, your media strategy, your story is so good. It's even better than what I thought when we were talking on the phone. We need to have you as a Latinos in clinical research presenter because we do these monthly Zooms. When you have time, we'll pick a month that you can do it. For It's only an hour, and then we're gonna build your brand through Latinos in clinical research like crazy. And then Vera Services will be like one of the partners on our website because that's such an important inspirational story, and it just shows you like those quotes that I had yesterday.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I
yeah.
had no idea I was going to interview you. I know, like, you just messaged me and that's it. So it just shows you how the universe works and how the stuff that we're talking about is the right kind of thing. Like, you're headed in the right direction. So, what advice do you have to somebody who is just starting out? Um, Maybe they were like you back in the early 2000s. Like, what advice do you have?
Oh my God, be committed. If you say you're gonna say something, you're gonna do something, you better do it. Don't give me the excuses. Just get it done.
Hmm.
Um,
But Carla, it's difficult.
no, well, yeah, it's difficult for everyone, but I just need the people who get it done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had a couple of questions for you because I was curious about you the first time I saw you. I was like,
Uh,
oh my God, this is amazing. This is
oh, bring them
exactly
on.
what the world needed, the CRA world needed.
Sure.
Okay, so I think this will help your audience and will help a little bit of people with just listening and interested. What is the weirdest questions that you had in an interview?
Me personally, the weirdest questions I've had in an interview, or is like as an employee, or me as an employer asking people.
No, as an employee, getting questions.
Oh, I've only done a few interviews myself, like as an employee. I was a contract CRA, I still am. I didn't have weird questions. I had people checking to see if I knew what I'm talking about. So I and I love, kind of like you, I love the small cap, uh, the biotechs, like under 500 million. I think, by the way, if I wasn't an entrepreneur, I would work, like if I were an employee full time, it would be with one of these biotechs. Get in early and then get some stock options or something. Those things take off, guys, like the
Yeah.
right one. And then if it's not the right one, you move on. You keep doing it until you find you're still building your experience. But I had this one small biotech I was interviewing with. There were two guys, they were the directors, and they were asking me about oncology. And it was, one would ask me, what do you do when there's a drug excursion, when there's a temperature excursion? I would answer. The other one would immediately, no feedback, no room for breathing. One, I answer, another. And for like, it was like 10 minutes like this. They
Of
didn't tell me
torture.
if I answered it right, nothing. I know I answered them right, but I couldn't imagine somebody who doesn't have experience doing that interview. They would
Mhm.
have got killed. And I
It's
think that's the purpose of those interviews. So I didn't have anything strange because I didn't interview a lot. As an interviewer, when I hire coordinators, I get some weird answers to some questions I ask. Just some weird characters that I would never hire.
Okay, alrighty. So for your audience, the weirdest questions I gotten from CRA is, do you think about research all the time? And I
Really?
was like, what do you mean? Yes, because you cannot be showering and thinking about research. And I'm like, well, sometimes I do it, but sometimes I do not.
What? That's crazy. How would
That's
they?
a super weird question.
Maybe that's a good
So,
one to start asking CRAs now for the internship. Do you dream of queries if you're a
oh
CRA?
my
Gonna
God.
start asking.
So the thing was, because I do, after whether I got the position or not, I'm interested because I'm curious about how people think. So I was like, well, what was the purpose of this question? And they wanted to know if I was able to think on a problem and find a solution that they haven't figured out.
Like creativity, basically.
Correct. Correct.
So it
So
sounds
guys,
like a weird question, but it's actually from a philosophical perspective, important one.
exactly. Needless to say, I didn't get the job because I didn't
Yeah.
get that answer right.
You should start
But
asking now, your CRAs when you hire, do you dream of queries? Just see what they say. See what they reply.
well, I don't dream of Aquarius. I wouldn't think someone will, but it is what it
Now you
is.
will. You will now.
What's a main skill a CRA should have?
Ooh, I mean, uh, if I had to pick one, if I had to pick one, obviously it's attention to detail, but I want to say also soft skills. So encouraging the sites to do things. You know how sites are busy, and CRAs that are able to have persuasion
Mm-hmm.
tend to get their sites to perform better than
Okay.
those who don't. Like the worst ones are the ones that are like police officers, and they,
Oh, those are the worst.
yeah, they try to rule by force as opposed to rule by I don't know what the word would be, but like cooperativeness, right? I think that,
Yep,
but of course attention to detail because you don't want to screw up.
exactly. But for me, it's communication. I think the way you communicate things, it's
Hmm.
ideal.
So
Even if
soft
you don't
skill,
pay
soft skill.
attention, yeah, even if you miss something and you ask the site, look, I forgot to get the temperature lock.
Yeah.
It's a way you say it. It's like, you were supposed to give it to me rather than, I forgot, please send it to me. So it's all about communication and the way we communicate.
I agree. I want to say soft skills, that includes
Yeah,
that, but I mean, I don't know what's more important, attention to detail or soft skill, because you kind of need both, you know?
you need everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
you need a full package. And
Mhm.
then if one of your students come with me, remember that our site is also our client. So I don't want my sites or the people you're working with telling you, being mistreated or not being polite enough that they don't want to work with us again.
If anything,
So
we train for the soft skills,
yeah.
especially during the internship part where they get to deal with me and Chris and Monica, who you'll meet. I don't think you know Monica, but you'll meet her through Latinos in Clinical Research. As soon as we
Well,
do finish this video, I'm sending it to all the founders of Latinos in Clinical Research. So you have to watch this. We got to get her on whatever next month is available for her to present.
okay. And then guys, for tips for identifying fraud. That's a huge
Ooh,
thing here
that
in
is a
Florida.
good one. That is a very good one. Hey, you know what? Me and Chris, my business partner, always talk about this. Why doesn't the FDA hire? You know how the FDA does a bunch of for cause audits, right? For fraud. They're suspecting
Mhm.
fraud. So why
Mhm.
doesn't the FDA? I'll ask you this one and then I'll get back to you. Why doesn't the FDA hire former coordinators who know what they're doing to be their auditors? What do you think?
I would love that because I hate to having I've been in, I don't know, maybe 20 or 30 FDA audits with inspectors next to
Yeah.
me. And I hate to have explain someone that comes from a milk factory to what research is. Um, so I would love they do that, but I don't think they have the budget to do it. I don't know if you've seen the salary on
Mm.
a FDA inspector, and let me tell you,
It's not good. Yeah.
it's horrible.
It's not
Um,
good. But I think that's opportunity. Well, I don't know if the government innovates like this, but I think that's opportunity for somebody who wants
Oh
to do
yeah,
what you did, similar,
yeah.
or just audit. It doesn't have to be with the FDA, but maybe like audit. You know how CROs hire auditors as well.
Yeah.
I think the one way I do is, and it takes the sites to know this, lack of adverse events. I mean, if you have a study, how can you have a study with Alzheimer's, let's say? This is what I monitored. Alzheimer's study. These are elderly patients. It's
Hmm.
a 2-year study. You enroll 8 patients. They all complete, and not one adverse event. How?
No
How
one.
is this possible?
You're
Not one.
telling me no one had a cough?
No one had a headache. I had a 2 adverse event this morning. I just woke up. My knee hurt. My knee hurt when I walked my dog, and I had a headache.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
how is it possible for
It's
a elderly in a 2-year
yeah.
study not to have a? To me, that's the biggest
That's the
warning.
biggest thing. Well, medical records. You
Mm,
have no idea how many fun sites I have walked, and I had to close them. And I'm like, I'm not coming back to you. This is just horrible.
that's that
Um, I,
Miami, the spirit of Miami for you.
yeah, yeah. So I had one that the dad had died before they gave the child was conceived. So I was like,
Wow, are you kidding me?
yeah, nope,
That's a big
nope.
one. Lack of medical records. I think that's a really good one too. Yeah.
Actually, a real story, and we can sit down for hours, and I can tell you so many stories. But yes, yes. And then from the PA perspective, because I have a lot of PM friends,
Okay.
I was asking them because I do a couple of questions with them all the time, so I know what they're looking for. And I asked them before our interview, what do you prefer, polite or professional, or just friendly? And they were like, polite. They like politeness. Even if you don't know what you're talking about, they just want to be treated with respect.
So the project manager prefers politeness from who? From everybody? From sites or who?
From the CRA, because remember,
From the CRA.
in our setting, it's we communicate a lot with the PMs
Mm.
directly.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, I have so much respect for PMs. I don't think I could ever do project management myself. I can do CRA much more easily than project management. They have to keep things so organized. And whenever there's a problem, from the site, the sponsor, the CRAs, the CRO, everybody complains to them. So they
Hmm.
are putting out fires every day. In my opinion, they don't get paid enough. Uh, that's like the toughest job, I think. Oh, only that they don't
Oh
have to
yes.
travel that much, but they make up for it with every day putting out fires. I mean,
Oh my
every
God.
day. And if it's an international study where you have European sites, you don't even sleep. They call you
Oh
at 3
yeah.
in the morning.
Hmm.
Hats
Hmm.
off to
That's
project
right.
managers. No wonder they
Yes.
want polite people.
Yes. That's what they are, and that's all I have for you.
Those are good. I've never had a guest ask me questions, but I think that's amazing. That's amazing. And your story, Carla, is so good. I mean, I'm going to upload this immediately. We got to do more. Like I said, we're going to have you on Latinos in clinical research. Did you even know about that? Did you know we have this? It's only 3 months.
I I just found out last Friday when I saw
You're
your
too
post.
busy. You're too busy.
I know. I'm
Yeah.
trying to keep myself out there though, because I do want to have
We're going to
at
feature
least
you
a new
because
experience.
we're going to have to feature you because your story is amazing. Your company is doing great things. We want to help you guys grow. And you're getting so busy to the point where you need to rely on the community to help, and
Hmm.
there's plenty. So with the CRA Academy, we're going to try to send you good candidates for internship, CRC Academy too. A lot of the CRCs want to be CRAs. And like we said, the best CRAs usually CRCs first. So we have a lot. I'm going to send this interview to all the Latino and clinical research, and then we'll definitely plan for you to come on. If people want to find you, LinkedIn, right? You prefer LinkedIn?
Anything for now, and we will work on the rest.
You'll see much more of Carla. So thank you very much, Carla. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you sharing your story. And it was not that difficult, right? So I think this is fun.
It was good.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Have a good day.
You too. We'll keep in contact.
Bye bye.